Hi guys. I thought it was time to get serious for a minute. Um, Actually, this is a segment that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's really a series of segments because what is this video channel for other than giving my review and impression and feedback about various aspects of electric vehicles, the infrastructure, things of that nature. So what I wanted to do is start doing a series of hits and misses. And by that I mean if something's a hit, I think it's something that was done well, done right. It made the, it hit the mark. And then if it's a miss, well, it's something there's an opportunity for improvement or something that could have been done better or differently. And so I figured I'd start off this series with what other than the Bolt EV. And I've owned the car now for about a month. I've put over 3,000 miles on it already, and I feel like I'm starting to get a pretty good feeling for what the car is, its strengths and weaknesses in its stock trim. So up front, just as a disclosure, the Bolt EV that I have is the LT trim, not the Premier trim. So there are certain aspects of the Premier that I can't really speak to. So this is primarily from the perspective of someone with an LT trim. I personally feel the LT is a better value, but that's mostly because a lot of the bells and whistles that come with the Premier are not something that I would be interested in. So to start off, I want to go through what I see as the hits, where GM did, in my opinion, a really good job with the Bolt EV, and these are the hits. And the first is value. I don't know that it's even arguable. It is the best value on the market currently and will be for, the next year probably. I think after it, in terms of value, would be the Model S60, just because you get so much more for your money. But again, that's still, a $20,000 difference in cars. So I think the value nod has to go to the Bolt EV. There's no other car that can do what it can do for the same price as an average new car MSRP. And people will say, oh, well, the Bolt EV is just basically a $20,000 car with a $20,000 powertrain. I disagree. I mean, even if that were it alone, people pay $20,000, $30,000 more for the same exact car in a better powertrain. Say going to an SS trim on a Camaro, for example. People will pay more to have a better powertrain. So even then, that argument is kind of faulty on its own. But the other thing is, I don't know too many $20,000 cars that come with a high definition, large, flat screen, touch screen interface. I don't know too many $20,000 cars that come with a, HID headlights. There's a lot of aspects of the car that are not, what you would find in a typical $20,000 car. And I think it's a very good value, even aside from the difference in price for the powertrain. The next thing is, and it's going to maybe shock some people, but I think the heater. GM did an amazing job selecting this heater. It defogs as well as any internal combustion engine vehicle I've ever owned. Maybe it's geometry of the vents, but the fact that it's run off of resistance heat, which heats up immediately off the battery. Yes, it's about a 6 kilowatt draw, it appears, but when you have a 60 kilowatt hour battery available, it actually doesn't impact the range as much as you might believe. And it's far better in cold, damp weather than a heat pump would be, especially at defogging the windows. The next is space. So they've made a big deal out of it. They added a lot of cargo space, and I hear people say, oh, well, the Nissan Leaf has more space. They're a different segment of car, and actually the Nissan Leaf does not have more space. If you count the seat area, the Nissan Leaf actually has significantly less space in terms of cargo than the Bolt EV. Now, behind the rear passenger seats, yes, there's a larger space than something like the Nissan Leaf. But there's still adequate space, in my opinion, especially for the size of the car. It is extremely roomy in there. And I think that's a big hit. And I think GM, did it right when it came to actually the cargo space. The next thing is weight. Now, think about it this way. This car, the engineering on this car is very good. It weighs in at 3,500 pounds, which means that even without all of the advanced materials that are used in something like the BMW i3, it's only 500 pounds heavier than the non-range extended i3 with double the battery capacity. So literally that 500-pound difference is tied up only in the battery. Outside of that, they've matched BMW's engineering using composite materials, and they're using high-strength steel and aluminum. Not an ounce of carbon fiber in the entire car, which it also speaks to the price point of the car. That's why they're able to bring it in as cheaply as they can. So I think a big nod needs to go to GM for their engineering on this. This is not just a Sonic. It's a well-engineered high-strength steel car. I'm impressed with the build quality. The next thing is the performance. Now, it's actually a very high performance vehicle. I'm a little worried about some of the reviews that I've seen, and I don't know if it's maybe the reviewers are trying to compare it to a Tesla, because obviously they're not in the same class. But the car outperforms the tires in terms of performance, and that to me is very telling. Full disclosure, I was not intending to break any sort of road laws. I was only attempting to get up to speed. But I've actually spun the tires on dry pavement on an on-ramp doing 35 to 40 miles an hour. The car exceeds the potential of the tires in terms of grip and traction and power. And I'm looking forward to seeing if I can start exploiting that a little bit. And then the last thing is the interior. I think they did a wonderful job with the interior. I hear a lot of people gripe and complain about the plastics, and I don't know what materials they think the interiors of their cars should be coming with, but I think the cloth in the LT version is very high quality. The two-tone I think looks really nice. And the dash materials, at this point in time, I kind of expect dash materials to be made out of some sort of composite polymer, and they've done a very good job with it. The fit and finish is good. It doesn't rattle. It doesn't squeak. It's well put together, and I like it a lot. And in fact, a lot of people that I've had sit in the car, people have come from Hondas, from Lexus, they've sat in the car and said, wow, I really like the interior. And I think that says a lot, because the people that were sitting in my car for the first time, they weren't coming in with any expectations or preconceived notions. These were just people, friends, co-workers who just had a chance to ride in my car and said, wow, I kind of like this. So I think these are the hits for GM. I think they did a really good job in these areas, and I think they should be I think they should be acknowledged for the job that they've done in those areas. So those are the hits.